All right, so we're gonna go through each of the sections. I'll say what chord I'm playing because I know we don't have quite like the bird's eye view over the top, but I'll say like the names of the notes too. So we're starting on F. F is gonna come up a lot because that's the key we're in. F, A, C, we're doing these arpeggios. A, C, E, we're doing all root position. Remember, 6 notes per, or total, 3 notes per hand. D minor, D, F, A. G minor, G, B flat, D. And we're doing a new right hand pedal each chord. Last chord, C, E, G. Then we repeat that. And the world. Actually, first time it only does that once. Then we go right to the pre-chorus. That's where we stop. So to follow up on, we were talking about F to F7, all we need to do is lower our thumb to E flat. And I just did that there with my left hand only. You can do it with both hands. As long as you get an E flat in those 4 beats, it'll sound like that. And that's at this lyric. And the world. Here's the E flat. Inside out, yeah. Coming out on a B flat chord, B flat, D, F. But see how just that E flat in the bass felt like that? Here's what it feels like if I put E flat in both hands. And the world, turn it inside out, yeah. A little bit more of that F7 dominant feeling, so you can see how there's a difference if you put it in the low voice, the middle voice, and then the last option I'm going to show you is if I'm going to put it on top of the chord. The note that's the highest on the keyboard within any chord is going to stick out the most. So now it's really going to feel dominant, but in a kind of brighter sense. You'll see what I mean. And the world, turn it inside out, yeah. Again, I can get that E flat whenever I want. Notice I didn't do that on beat 1 because I was still kind of in this F position. With the pedal, think about on beat 1, you want to establish your chord. Then once the pedal is down, you're just stacking notes. So beat 1 is a really tough time to add anything in, and you have all 4 beats to do it. So you might as well get the pedal situated and get it later. And the world, turn it inside out, yeah. Works just as well there. And you can play around with the E flat, playing against different melody notes. I personally really like putting it right there. And turn it inside out and turn, because it kind of has this like disguised minor sound to it, like C minor is suddenly in play, for instance. You start to hear all these other opportunities, and this song does go through a bunch of different key centers. Once we get through the part itself and talk about the theory, you'll see some of that, but I'm going to keep going for the sake of time. So we came out on a B flat chord, B flat, D, F, and then we go to G minor, G, B flat, D. And we're pretty much going between G minor and D7 there. Now this D7, you can get the dominant feeling by going D, F sharp, A, moving your thumb down to C. Same trick as before. Now, when I hear this D7, it's not as, I guess, stressed as the F7 before, is what I kind of hear. So it's okay if you just do a normal D chord, is what I'm saying. So that's just a normal D sound without the 7. Here it is with the 7. A trick you can do too is like coming off of a D chord and just moving the thumb down like right after, so that you're actually playing both versions of it. So the listener then has a choice. Okay, again, if you put that C in there, I think we're starting to hear C minor a little bit again too, so it's going to darken the feeling. It is technically a D7 chord, so just get that C in there at some point. Now at the end of this, when we do Supersonic Man, there's a walk up here, and it's G, G, A, B flat, B, C. Good. Ideally, if you can work your way up to both hands, that would sound best because it goes right with the melody, but just one hand is good too. That part there, those are not chords, just single note. And when we get to the chorus, this is really important. There's kind of a directional arrow put in there, and that means that the melody, or sorry, the harmony in this case, is going upwards. So these chords, F, G minor, A minor, D minor, all going up on the piano. And actually for the chorus, since things are changing a little faster now, and we don't actually need the 3-note chords anymore, because we're not going to arpeggiate these. We're just going to like kind of stab at them. These are going to be staccato. And we're going to play what are called dyads, which are just 2-note chords. So F and A, G and B flat, A and C, D and F. Okay, because we don't need the 5th, and that's playing to do Don't Stop Me Now. And then when we get to the chords that we hang out on for a little bit longer, G minor and C, then we can go back to having such a good time, having a ball, don't stop me now. Okay. On the D minor, I would fill out that chord because you're going to sit on D minor for a second. But here's what that would sound like all together. Don't stop me now, having such a good time, I'm having a ball, don't stop me now. So I am still getting the left hand root note, F and A right hand, big open D minor there, and it opens up. Careful not to just do your right hand, because then that's going to sound really thin, right? If you drop your bass note in the left hand, it just sticks out a lot. When you're playing with a group, you do have the bass guitar helping you out a little bit with that, but I wouldn't lean on it, which is why it's so important to look at this holistically and think, am I able to handle one note in the left hand, or do I want to try octaves? But being consistent and doing the same thing throughout the song will make it so that like the energy doesn't drop or suddenly rise. Okay, let's pick it up from the second one. Don't stop me now. Just give me a call. Second time it goes on D7, and this one definitely needs a C. Just give me a call. And then we go post-chorus, so we're going over to the next page. Now there's a downwards arrow for this one, which means the harmony is going downwards, and we're going to do the dyads again. G minor, G and B flat. Don't stop me. And I'm actually going to do that in amplifier. Don't stop me now. What I like to think of here is we start on G minor and we end on G minor. So if you're like kind of mapping it out, aiming your hands, especially with your left hand, having a plan for like, okay, my thumb's going to start on G, and then my pinky's going to get the G below that. And then everything in between, use the common sense fingers, like F would be played with 2, and then C, you're working your way down. I would do the middle finger there. Don't stop me now. We do that twice. Don't stop me, 'cause I'm having a good time. Here's C. Don't want to stop at all. We have that B flat 7 sus2 chord that we were talking about at the end there, and then it loops back into the verse. Now, the intro is arpeggiated when we get to the verse, and I should have said this earlier. I'm kind of going backwards to this. This is Beatles style. This always, like, to me, sounded like the theme song from The Office, and now you can't unhear it. But it's... So it's a little too fast to have that da 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 da. Like, I wouldn't do consistent Beatles style because then it's gonna sound too frantic. Listen to the actual track. The actual track is a little more hand to hand, and this is where it really does relate to drums, particularly if you've ever played congas and think of like the bass tone and the slap tone. If you play piano like that, that's actually where all these things are drawing from. But as a starting point, I just want to do quarter notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, change 2, 3, 4. And what I'm doing there, 3 notes in the right hand root position, and then left hand is just the root. And then once you feel comfortable with that and the chord changes, you can start adding in some rhythms. Now, careful with the pedal. If you play, and I'm gonna go back to what I said before, frantically, or like too many notes, like where it's like the pedal kind of starts to fight back against you in terms of like you have too many notes happening. So be really careful on how you use the pedal. Now, generally, we talked about each measure changing. When we have rhythms like this, I kind of want you to think about how long you want to sustain the note. So I'm going to bring it back to congas. Sometimes you hit the middle tone and it vibrates out, and it sounds really nice. But sometimes you want to like choke it off, or like there's like the karate chop, like slap. Think of the piano just like that, so you can actually use the pedal to kind of stop some of the notes that you don't want to ring out. And that'll be the next phase of working on the pedal, is not only doing it every measure, but actually using it to make our articulation pretty much sound better. So that's what will happen there. Again, it's just kind of like The Office. Faster tempo, here's what the pre-chorus does, because we have 3 notes in our right hand and 1 note in our left hand. Same logic, F7, we need to get an E flat somewhere in this measure, and we only have 4 notes in the chord. So this is actually easier than before because we don't have to change with like 6 notes and like really fill it out. It's just, if I move my right hand down, it could be here. I can move my left hand down. It's kind of just right there. So I'm running through the sky. Now, there's definitely a little semblance of Beatles style in this pre-chorus. Again, you don't want to do every single note, but at the very beginning, I like to play that Beatles style, which is 3 notes in the right hand, 1 note in the left. It works out perfectly. But what we're going to do is F, A, C. So I'm going from A and C to F, finger 3 and 5 to 1. Now I'm going to move my thumb down to E flat, don't change anything else. So I had to have a 3-note chord in order for the Beatles style to work. And that's why I ditched the F here and went to E flat, because my left hand's actually going to stay on F. My left hand could go to E flat. We talked about this a little bit, where if we drop F, it's still kind of heard, but there's a risk of like if we hit G, then we're in E flat world. So I would keep the root down here and get this sound rather than risking it. See like a little difference there, but you want to keep that Beatles style and start that slow. D7 measure, when we're again, we're at the faster tempo. This is where like the drums have kicked in already. That C is more important when we're going faster because on Fahrenheit, that note. Gonna call Mr. Fahrenheit sits really well with the D7 dominant. Call me Mr. Fahrenheit. That's too bright. That's D major, too bright. So think about like what we're doing with a D7. We're like darkening it. We're taking a minor seventh and adding on top of a major chord. Call me Mr. Fahrenheit. Like adding a little bit of mystery to it. So really make sure you get that. But all you have to do is do it on Fahrenheit, which is not until the middle of the measure. If you look here. That's why they call me Mr. Fahrenheit. You have time to get there, and I would suggest adding that C on Fahrenheit to really like emphasize we are no longer playing D, we're playing D7. Very important distinction right there. Again, at the faster tempo. When we're arpeggiating it at the beginning, it should have kind of more of this feeling. Tonight, gonna have myself a real good time. I feel alive. Pre-chorus and the world turning inside out, yeah. And ecstasy, so don't stop. And we go from there. I messed up some words there. On the D7 for the arpeggiated part, the word we have now is on ecstasy. On ecstasy, which is actually, that note is just D. That note, I think, sounds better reinforced by a D major, a little bit brighter, because then we're gonna darken it a little bit later. But listen to how it sounds again. Ecstasy. And don't stop me now. Ecstasy. There's your difference between D7 and D major there. But you can hear how like we don't have like the pull of like what Fahrenheit that melody has. It's a little more optional there. I would just play it as written, play this C. Or do a little bit of both, like change up. And ecstasy. That always feels really, really cool. It's just like ecstasy. Now don't stop me now. Changing it on beat 2. Ecstasy. And we should actually, we should definitely do it like that. So if I'm arpeggiating, ecstasy. Right, actually, he says the note there. C. You hit C when he says C. He maps it out for us. Okay. Let me see if there's anything on this chart that we haven't really gone over. I think that's all the pieces. I'm gonna get some lyrics and do a playthrough. Actually, I'm just gonna. I think I know the words. Tonight I'm gonna have myself a real good time. I feel alive. And pre-chorus, that's not the word. We're just at the pre-chorus. Now, yeah. Rolling around, here's a D7 and ecstasy. So don't stop me now. Don't stop me, 'cause I'm having a good time. Faster, having a good time. So that comes out on, we're still kind of looking at the verse, and this is important to distinguish. We go to the pre-chorus, G minor and then C. This is where the speed up at cello rondo happens. Having a good time, and we're at the verse on F. Want to pick it up from there? Having a good time, having flat, A flat, C, F. Let me go back to the verse. On my way to Mars on a collision course. I'm going through the sky, yeah. That's why I call this Fahrenheit. Traveling at the speed of light, I'm gonna walk it up. And don't stop me, don't stop me. That's the dropout chorus there. Hey, 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 don't stop me, don't stop me. Ooh, 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 don't stop me, have a good time. And coming back into this, and everyone's gonna sing during that too. So like, if you're not familiar with the chant there, we're gonna break that apart. And you're not doing anything there, so yes, you're gonna do the chant. We're actually gonna do like a just piano downwards wipe coming into this, and we're playing the verse. This is where the guitar solo comes in. Don't stop me, good time, don't stop me, and here's the pre-chorus. I'm burning through the sky, yeah. 100 degrees, that's why they call me Mr. Fahrenheit. I'm driving at the speed of light, gonna walk it up. And don't stop me. I'm gonna go that down here. Don't stop me now. Having such a good time. Having a ball. Don't stop me now. If you want a good time. D7 a call. And here's our post chorus. Going, don't stop me. Having a good time. Don't stop me, cause I'm having a good time. Don't wanna stop there. C, here's our B flat 7, so let's do that at all. We're gonna roll that one. So what that means is pedals down, A flat, C, F, right hand. Left hand, we're gonna expand to octaves if we can, or just like any collection of notes that belong in this chord. And rolling means none of the fingers are like hitting together like kind of sporadically. There's not a particular way. Semi-random, but it's kind of like a harp player knows which strings are in the chord that they're playing. Harp players are actually some of the great, like the smartest theorists I've ever talked to, because they have to think about this all the time. It's not like guitar, you can get away with like making a shape and like never knowing what you're doing. Harp, you have to like know everything, because you're not pressing a fret down. You're plucking a string, and if you're not plucking the right string, that's your one job, is to plug the right string. Like, you're messing up your one job. So we kind of want to make it sound kind of like a harp, where like if you're just going between. And the outro, we're going back to arpeggiation on F. Pre-chorus, I'm trying to remember where we stopped at. I think we now there's a fade out in the real recording. We'll talk that out in class, how long we want to do that. If whoever's singing it wants to do that da 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 da, that's right around, it starts fading out right there. For a live show, you need a definitive ending. So if you start going into that pre-chorus, It's a question of like, how do you then wrap it up? Where if we stay on the verse, da 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 da, then we go G minor. Here's C. We very safely land. Very safely land back at home at F. And there's no obscurity of adding in this E flat. Okay. And actually, to kind of start talking about the theory side of this, when we add the E flat in the pre-chorus on the F7, the key that we are changing to then is B flat major, which has two flats. I was telling you that one of the main key centers, for the verse, the key center is F, and then pre-chorus we're adding a flat. So that's what I mean when I say there's multiple key centers. Now, when we go to B flat 7 and we add A flat, now we're adding our third flat and we're in the key of E flat. This is where the C minor sound comes from. That's E flat major. That's not the sad sound. But we have what's called a relative major and minor. Any relative major scale, such as C, if I go backwards 3 notes, 1, 2, 3, and I get to A, I'm going to play all those same notes, but starting from A, and I'm going to get the A minor scale. Think your A minor chord, A, C, E. That's relative major and minor, and what we're doing with the B flat 7 is we're opening up the key of E flat, which also opens up the key of C minor that I heard earlier. Okay, so it's all about where you start. Every major key has a dark side. Every good person has a bad side to them, I guess. You can get meta about it if you want. I don't know. But that's kind of opening the door to other moods and songs and things like that. So it's a pretty cool thing, and we'll talk about that more, kind of test it out. But remember, 3 notes. So if I'm doing C major, I'm going down 3 notes to A. Best way to practice that is just quiz yourself. You have all those major scales written out. So say we're working on D major, and I'll start quizzing you in lessons on this too. D major has F sharp and C sharp. Down 3 notes. 1, 2, 3. B minor. And just really be careful, like remind yourself, because like B minor, for instance, we go right to C sharp. Okay, it's easy to start your scale and like kind of forget that. But hear how that's a darker sound. The B minor chord is B, D, F sharp, derives directly from that. Again, talking to the theory of it, all of these notes that make up the scale also make up the chords. And that's something we're going to start practicing too, is just like identifying a key such as F, listing out all the possible chords, which are the 1 chord, F, the 2 chord, G minor, A minor is 3, B flat is 4, C is 5, the dominant chord, D minor is our 6, or our bridge chord. We'll talk more about what a bridge chord is later, but then we go to E diminished and end on F. And every major scale has those same major and minor equivalencies. Okay, where the 1 chord is major, the 2 chord is minor, the 3 chord is minor, the 4 chord is major, the 5 chord is major, the 6 chord is minor, the 7 chord is diminished. Diminished is going to be our next chord we learned about. It's like a super minor chord, 3 notes and then 3 notes. Here I'm playing E, G, B flat. It's a really ugly sound. It's used a lot in movie soundtracks, but every major key has that. The 7 chord is always that kind of friction point. And it does actually sit right behind home bass or your tonic chord. So it's not like it's a chord you can avoid, even though we look at pop songs and most of them are minor chords and major chords. There's always that diminished chord somehow implied, even in a pop song. And if it's not, then it's a missed opportunity. So, and we're gonna go over that. I mean, Queen is obviously they're using 3 different key centers and using about every feeling in each key. So if they don't use that diminished chord again, it's just like a missed opportunity. You didn't fully explore the key. But there is such a thing as too many chords in a song. There's no right or wrong answer, but when you see 4 chords for an entire song, it's just like, okay, there's, you know, that seems like the bare minimum. Bare minimum, I would say is 2, but then you're just not going anywhere. All right, I think that wraps up everything we have on here. I'm just looking over. Yeah, and we'll clarify all this lessons, but hopefully this at least answers the styles of how to play and how to start practicing. Again, when we're faster, we're basing that all around Beatles style, which is 3 notes in the right hand and a root note in the right, and kind of playing it hand to hand. Not necessarily this Beatles style, because remember that's too frantic, but you can throw a little bit of that hand to hand in there, but mostly you just start quarter notes. Alright, hope this helps.